It's your host, Holly. Welcome back to Hustling with Holly. I missed you, all of you. I genuinely hope that you are staying safe, having fun, and getting paid. First things first, I'd like to shout out longtime listener, Hunter from Idaho. You know who you are. Thanks for listening and being a hustler, bud. Really means a lot. Also, huge shout out to Gordon Schlosser from Eugene, Oregon. I'm sure I butchered your name, so sorry. He's been a day one supporter from the very beginning. I really appreciate you, dude, so I just wanted to shout you out real quick. So thanks for being a hustler and seeing me throughout this journey. And let's get into the episode. So first things first, why I've been absent. One of the main reasons that you guys have probably not heard from me, well, not probably, it's definitely why you haven't heard from me, is I do have a guest or two lined up. The hardest thing about bringing guests on the podcast is COVID. And securing a space in which I can have the guests. So I need a pretty open, available space to sit down and record with them because I just have my bedroom and I live with friends. So obviously this isn't going to be my first choice to do something like that. So I need like a co-working space kind of thing. Those office spaces that they rent out in Seattle for really expensive. Still building the budget for that, so I'm not diving right into that. We also just got in the third phase here in Mill Creek, Washington, so that's new, meaning people are a little bit more comfortable to be face-to-face than they were before. Everybody's kind of coming out of their little comfort zone, and things are kind of going back to normal, I guess. I'm not really sure, but basically, if you know someone in Seattle or specifically the Everett Mill Creek area who has an open availability throughout the week, I can provide a space. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at hustlinwithholly. We'll call it shooting your shot. Just kidding. Sorry. I had to be cringy for a little bit. Sorry. All right. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I haven't been publishing episodes. The other reason is that I do not want to get in the habit of putting out filler episodes for the sake of having something published, especially if I'm not proud of it or feel like it doesn't create any real value to the listener. I do not want to have filler episodes of me talking about absolutely nothing. I like to think that each episode contains, a little bit of value, a little bit of entertainment, and I'm working on, just kind of being real, being honest, and really walking you guys through my journey in life. And some of it'll be relatable and some of it might not, but I can't just put out episodes talking about why pizza does not belong on pineapples. And before anybody gets mad, that's not actually my stance. I'm just using that as an example. So calm down. I could care less if the pineapple's on the pizza. But yeah, diving right in, I'm just going to talk about what's been going on recently. So I'm going to call this self-discovery, if you will. Recently took a couple weeks off work to visit family and then spent the remaining week by myself to do some self-reflection. So that was interesting. And lately I've been trying to figure out who I am and what it is I want to do. Obviously, whatever that is going to have to coincide with, being creative, because that's kind of my main avenue of what I want to do and like kind of where I want to end up. But obviously it's me still figuring that out, asking questions like for what company, that I want to work at, or what network or what niche. I'm still figuring out those little details that you'd think would be a lot easier. But yeah, you know how it is, when you're passionate about something and you're trying to make it work, and you're also in the middle of a global pandemic. So there's that. So yeah, that's one thing that's just kind of been going through my mind. I'm sure some of you can relate. At the same time, I really just want to have fun, One of my goals for the year 2021 in particular was to meet genuine people, have unique experiences and fun experiences, as well as make a lot of memories. And I'm not really sure how well I'm doing with that goal, but I'm still trying to meet that goal, of course, before the year's end. It's a pretty sincere goal, at least I think, but it's, again, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and that's interesting. So I think I'm doing okay. I don't know how on track I am with that. Like, I want to do a lot of hikes, and because that's a pretty unique experience, like Eagle Falls, Mount Pilchuck, Heather Lake. I want to meet people, like at music festivals. I really want to do some concert photography this summer, but I'm also still working at Mod Pizza and trying to figure my way in that company. I got promoted, so that was pretty cool. And so it's just stuff like that. But I guess those are a few examples of unique experiences or memories that I'd like to make. Adding to my reflection, I've been thinking a lot specifically about being a young adult still in my early 20s and kind of what that means, because there's honestly like two sides of it. The first being that I feel that there's a lot of pressure for me to get a degree and then a high paying job and then the perfect guy so we can have the perfect marriage and move into the perfect house and then have a white picket fence at that house, no less. And then on top of that, immediately start having kids. And obviously this isn't coming from one place in particular. It's that societal standard when you kind of hit 18 and you're starting life. I'm 21, but like what I mean is you're just starting, and in the sense you've only begun, but so much is already expected of you, which is great, but also a little nerve-wracking. And so I still feel that. And like some days it's more than others, of course, but that's kind of interesting because people are like, get the degree and you need to make 6 figures a year and you need to be married to this particular guy and you guys need to be living here and stuff like that. And then you need to be doing this. And there's different expectations for being a woman and there's different expectations for being a man. I mean, that definitely just probably starts earlier than 18 because you're like, okay, I'm supposed to do this, this, and this. But like at 18, I don't know, it just becomes more real. And then as you get older, I don't know how to kind of explain it, but it's just been an interesting experience, but I'm not fazed by it at all necessarily. Like I said, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, there's that pressure and it's like, oh, okay, you too, and that's that. And to add to this, that's probably why I avoid people more than I should, like I don't particularly enjoy the side eye given to me because I don't have my life figured out yet. Because for some reason there are those people that are like 19, already wifed up, and then bought a house and in line to take over their like parents' jobs, which is great. But there are definitely people my age who have it all figured out already. And that's really interesting meeting those people. Sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're not. But like those expectations weren't necessarily made out of thin air, like there are definitely people doing that. And then there's me. So like I'm trying. I don't just sleep all day, except on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just 7 days a week. Just kidding. I have a job, but I'm trying. And so that's just been kind of interesting. And I bring that up because I feel like it's a pretty relatable topic, but at the same time, I feel like nobody really wants to talk about it. As young adults, I know for a fact that we think about it a lot, but like it never gets verbally put out there, that we're all just weirdly under pressure and there's these weird expectations and you're always thinking about, do I want that? Do I not want that? Should I do this? Should I do that? Is my life on track? Is it not? Where do I fit into all of this? But nobody ever says anything. And like, I've been looking at people, to my left and to my right, like wherever I am. And I'm like, you're thinking about that, aren't you? Like you're trying to figure it out. Just as I'm trying to figure it out. And there's always like that neutral stance of everybody's just kind of trying to figure it out for the most part. Anyway, me bringing this up basically in a way is just me sorting through my thoughts and, letting you all know what's been up with me, because I want this podcast to be one of substance in being real. I did not create this podcast to talk about absolutely nothing, And as I said, I want these episodes to be real, honest, of value to someone, hopefully, I want them to be helpful or it just can't be about nothing, because I'm not one of those people that can, be in conversations where they're all talking about nothing. So being in a group, for example, where the conversation is really dull or has no substance whatsoever, I'm jealous of people who can do that. That's great. There's other people that enjoy being in those conversations. Those conversations for me, and particularly though, I can't do it. They just annoy me. And it's like, why can't we talk about something with substance, something to keep me hooked? And I'm not saying that we have to get deep real fast or anything, but I don't know, those conversations about nothing. And I can't even bring up a really good example because that's how quickly I leave those conversations. And maybe that's just me, but I can't do it. Plus, I'm really not a big fan of like groups in general, I really like being one-on-one, talking to someone, really getting to know them, When I'm talking to someone, I'm actually listening. And so if you bring up that you're on like a sport team or you're a barista or some very specific detail about you, I'll either want to explore that, and just get to know you better on a deeper level, but then I will also remember it in the next conversation. I feel like real listening skills and people that really listen to you don't really exist in the way that they should. We talk to people and then you're always thinking about what you're going to say next and you're not really listening to the person. And so the next conversation is like, oh, you're just here to be here, or you're just talking to me because you feel obligated to. And I don't know, I'm a little bit different, I guess, in a different, I don't know, I just don't do that. And if you don't either, dude, that's awesome. But if you do, then that's okay, because that's just you. But I'm just, telling you how I am and stuff like that. Kind of forgot what we were talking about, honestly. Let me get back to the point. Anyway, I was talking about my recent thoughts about being a young adult and what that's meant for me and how that's going, and just the thoughts that I had and that I think other people have, but will not admit that they have, And that's why this episode is titled, I forgot what it was titled. Hold on, let me look. It's so embarrassing. Oh, it's titled, I Don't Want to Adult Anymore, because quite honestly, who wants to? I can't believe that we actually grew out of naps and now we just don't take naps. We shouldn't have gotten rid of naps. But again, I'm getting off track, so let's get back to the point. My next point being adulting. Is there a right way to do it? We've discussed what's been on my mind and what I find somewhat problematic. Now let's talk about the remedy rather than just discuss the problem. I want to share with you what I came up with moving forward in my life. Number 1, perfection is not real, and I could care less about portraying a perfect image on all fronts, whether it be social media, academics, my occupation. I really just don't care anymore about the perfect Instagram life, you know? Sure, I'll continue to work and use social media, but not in a way to portray a certain image of myself that isn't real. For a time, I'm going to be honest, and this isn't necessarily something that I'm proud of, and I feel like we've all done it at one point. But you know, when you're like constantly posting and you're doing stuff and you're very active in your life, but you've set up your life in a way to make it look like everything is perfect. And some people do this with relationships, you know, like, oh, I have the perfect guy and we're doing so well. And like, you never know really what's going on behind the scenes. But because I can't relate to the relationship thing, I'm going to talk about just regular stuff. So for a while, I definitely tried to have the perfect filters on my photos, the perfect feed. So like every picture coincided with the next one. And now I just really don't care. You know, I just try to have fun with it. Like, I'm like, oh, this is a cool picture, post. And on my business account in particularly, the photography one, if you follow me on that, it's at Holly Macinich. And then my personal is holly.macinich. And you can find it on the podcast Instagram because I've linked both of them. But basically, I stopped caring on the business page. And you can see analytics on there and how well posts are doing and stuff like that for like brand work, and if you want to collab with like other artists, because it's kind of, you know, you're competing and stuff like that on Instagram, especially with the business filter on. If I look at my analytics or any of the information that it gives me to help me get better at the algorithm and just posting, my numbers have gone way down. My engagement is honestly just not there, and it's literally all because, one, I stopped posting, and I stopped posting because I didn't want to be forced to post anymore, because you have to be posting almost daily on Instagram if you're going to do kind of what I've been doing if you follow along. Like, everything just has to look perfect. And you know those perfect explore Instagram photos where someone's out on an island and it just doesn't look realistic. Of course, they were able to do that, and good for them. And some of those accounts are great to follow because you kind of get to live through them and adventure with them. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I stopped posting, and my numbers are looking really bad and stuff like that. And I really don't care. I posted a picture a couple days ago, and it was just a really fun picture that I liked. And I didn't post it right away. I actually waited just because my life doesn't revolve around Instagram anymore. But that perfectionist in me on like regarding my photography in a business sense, I'm just very much done with. Some people are still doing it, and good for them. Some people do it well. I have friends that are in the field and they're doing just that, and things are great. I just can't do it anymore. I really just want to have fun, you know? I want to look back and be proud of my work. I want to be excited to post, or if I'm going to, you know, I want to be excited about life. And that is why I've been silent on the second one. Obviously, I'm very active on stories because I'm just having fun, and it's been great. I get to meet and talk to a lot of people via Instagram stories, and that's been great. I just don't post a lot, and I really don't care, and I'm going to continue to do that because that's part of my 2021 goal of just having fun. So that's one of the remedies I've come up with being a young adult, is I really don't care about perfection anymore. Number 2, the second thing that I came up with was mistakes and changes are all right. There's again, a lot of pressure to get everything right and have that perfect life. So, you know, like when I was 17, for example, I was really obsessed with 5-year plans and sticking to them for some weird reason. It was probably because I forgot what those high school classes are called. I think we called it Quest, and it's your like life planning class thingy. And they're like, what do you want to be? What's your 5-year plan? What college are you going to? What are you going to do? You know, like they're like, have it all figured out in this class, and we're going to grade you on it. And that's probably why I started doing a lot of 5-year plans, because that's 4 years of college, and then 5 if it takes you longer, or if you graduate in 4 years, you use that last year to do something. I'm not particularly sure what, but I would make 5-year plans only to realize that things change and life is not predictable. So literally my plans would fall apart over and over again, and they immediately started to do so literally after graduating high school. And at first I was a little upset. I was like, oh man, I had all these plans and nothing's going according to those plans. And then after a while, I really just stopped caring, and then I stopped making 5-year plans and just kind of began to live my life. The plans falling apart, I'm really glad that they did, because the life that I have now is so much better, and a lot of the pressure is lifted, you know, because I don't really care to do things for other people anymore to please them or meet their standards or succeed by their metrics. I really just only care to do things for myself, you know? And it's been really, really nice and great. And I just, I'm back to that. I don't care anymore. Obviously, I care about the goals that I set, but just not about standards or perfection or that IG life is the best way I could put it. And I hope you don't either. And if you do, that's okay. Like if that's your life, that's okay. Some people thrive in that environment and stuff like that. And that's them. And the people that are really passionate about it and genuinely happy with it, I'm so happy for them. Needless to say, it just really wasn't working out for me. And so I quit. And things have been amazing ever since. I like to kind of reflect, though, back on my 17-year-old self who was making all those plans. I really wish time machines existed so I could go back and just talk to my 17-year-old self or like have her see my life now, because she would be really stressed out and frustrated. Like, why aren't you following the 5-year plan, the step by, it'd be really, really funny to torture 17-year-old me like that. But she'd eventually get over it and see like, oh no, you're grown. That's pretty cool. But I always think about every time something kind of changes abruptly or doesn't really go the way that I want it to. I know it's for the best, but at the same time, I know that it would also kill 17-year-old me. And that makes me kind of happy, which is funny to see how far I've come and like, I'm still going, I'm still on a journey. And that's just the second part of my reflection. And that's pretty much what I've come up with and learned throughout the recent months, years, weeks, and it's not much, but I feel like I'm better for it, and I will continue to figure things out, And I think you should too. I don't have a time limit for these episodes, so I'm thinking about should I end it here? I don't know, Maybe I'll just talk about random stuff at the end of this episode. Again, it won't be about nothing. I visited the farmer's market this afternoon, and it was really nice, and I say that because I think it's really important that we support small businesses. So this was downtown Everett. It's always in front of Narrative. So it's on Wetmore Street, I believe, Hewitt and Wetmore. And if it's not, I'm so sorry. I tried. But yeah, that's how my afternoon went. I went to church and got to hear the message. And then I went to the farmer's market. Ooh, you know what? If you're ever in downtown Everett and you're going to visit Narrative Coffee Co., get a chocolate chip cookie. They have the best salted chocolate chip cookies. Now, I know that doesn't sound good, but sweet plus salty, you guys, you just have to try it. Like, oh, so good. Anyway, the guy who owns the shop, his name is Max Mooney. He's from a previous episode. He's the first and only guest that the show has ever had. And so his episode is called Coffee and Community with Max Mooney. If you guys want to go back and give that a listen. If you need something to do this week and you live in the Everett Mill Creek area, stop by Narrative and get a salted chocolate chip cookie. And let me know how it tastes. Like, send me a message on Instagram, tweet at me, do all that. You will not regret it. It's so good. So good. Every time I'm down there, I'm like, well, I just got to have one of these. It's so good. That's a pretty good size, decently sized episode. Sorry if I talk too fast or anything like that. I'm really just trying to work on being more real and a lot more honest and really speaking what's been on my mind, because I really appreciate podcasts that do that. I appreciate other artists or hosts that are doing that, and it's always just nice. I appreciate transparent people, and so I want to try and be that on my own show because that's what I envisioned in the first place. I've been a little bit more scared than I'd like to admit to do so. This is me attempting that on a more serious level. Let's put it that way. So, as we come to a close, I just want to say a couple things. Don't forget to rate this podcast 5 stars. And if you really like it, maybe even write us a little review of what you think about it. It may not seem like it, but those things do help, and I love hearing from you guys. You don't have to if you don't want to, I'm just saying. If you're interested, rate this podcast or write a review. That really helps out the show. Also, another thing you could do, if you're really into the show and just like doing this kind of stuff, you can screenshot a photo of you listening to this episode, and I will feature it on the official Instagram page. So I've got an Instagram highlight labeled Hustlers, which is what I call you, the listeners of the show, and that's where I feature everything you guys have to say. So if you like screenshot it and you said something, or you just want to let me know that you're listening, there's a whole Instagram highlight literally devoted to you guys. And that's because I love hearing from each and every one of you. So if you'd like to go viral and be shown to my whopping 50 Instagram followers, now's your chance, you guys. Forget being TikTok famous. You could be not really Instagram famous, shown to 50 people on Holly's Weird Podcast famous, I think that's a little, I don't know, if you want to, you can. You don't have to. That's a lot. Anyway, so yeah, don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter. It's at hustlinwithholly. They wouldn't let me have the whole name because it's too many characters, so it's just the word hustlin with a W and then followed by Holly. Also, if you just don't want to type it in and you want to go to the link, you can go to the official Instagram page, which is hustlin with Holly, and that'll have links to everywhere. And if you're listening on YouTube, because we have a few listeners on the official YouTube channel, it's Hustlin with Holly podcast. Drop a comment below on the YouTube channel page, and I'll try and get back to comments because that's another place where you can listen. There's currently no visuals on the YouTube page because I don't have a camera that will record for more than 30 minutes. And if I'm going to have a guest, the episodes are usually 45 to 50 minutes. And so I have to save up for a camera that will let me have unlimited recording time and won't short out at the 30-minute mark. So if you just like YouTube and have like YouTube Premium, because I like listening to stuff in the background, you can listen to the podcast on YouTube if you don't like podcast apps or any of the other places like Spotify. I really enjoyed talking to you guys, kind of sharing what's on my mind. I can't wait for the next episode. Hopefully it won't be as long of a wait as it was for this one. Appreciate your support. Thanks to all who listen and continue to listen and, send me good vibes. I'm sending good vibes back to you. Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day and great things happen to you. Thanks for listening. All right. Bye.